Welcome back to Mosaic Minds Podcast. This week we are keeping it local in Indianapolis, and tonight's guest is someone who turned a personal setback into a brand new career. Chris Gonzales went from working as a plumber to building not just one, but multiple podcasts, Gonzo Sports Room, Gonzo's Wrestling Room, and Face or Heel Pro Wrestling Talk. What started as two cousins talking sports has grown into live commentary, coverage of independent wrestling promotions across Indiana, and interviews with some of the biggest personalities on the indie circuit. In this conversation, Chris is going to share how his love of wrestling became a family venture with his dad, and what he's learned from the 5 years behind the mic, also why the local sports scene here in Indiana, from the Colts to the Pacers to the Fever, is such an important part of the story. We also dig into building community through podcasting, the future of live events, and what it's like watching Indianapolis step onto the national stage as a true sports city. Let's jump into the conversation with Chris Gonzales.
It is going to be a good day. It is going to be positive. The sun's rising today. You know, we're going to have a great day regardless of weather or attitude or anything else.
Just kind of like, is it wrestling in other sports, or, you know, what are your podcasts, what are they about?
Well, the way it started, we started doing sports. I was actually a plumber. I had some health issues, couldn't do plumbing no more. And as I was just kind of sitting around the house, not doing a whole lot, me and my cousin decided to do a podcast. I followed sports my whole life, always watching. So we started doing, we called it Gonzo Sports Room. Our last name was Gonzales. It was just,
that's cool. Started
that, had it going pretty good. Well, then me and my dad are big pro wrestling fans. We went to an independent wrestling show here in town, DCCW, and was watching. Well, got to talking to the promoter and end up working out. Next show, we end up there, and we live streamed their show, the commentary, and then it went from doing one show from them to doing, within like 3 months, I think we were doing 6 or 7 different promotions. Was having us at their shows, live streaming it, doing commentary. Then we started having a lot of independent wrestlers on and interviewing them. And so we changed it from, we still do the sports stuff, but then what we did was just X out the S and made it GWR, Gonzo's Wrestling Room. And then I got lucky and got to add a couple real good guys, and Marcus Fine and Warren Misery that jumped in with us, and then my dad as well. At first it was my cousin, one of my best friends. Well, my best friend passed away, and then my cousin had some other stuff where he couldn't commit to it anymore. So my dad jumped in with me, and then, like I said, we picked up Marcus and Warren, and now we do the GWR independent wrestling, and then we started a Face or Heel Pro Wrestling Talk, where we talk more like WWE, AEW, the weekly TV shows that we do every Thursday night as well.
I've been fascinated with wrestling forever, so this is I'm guessing we're similar age, but I was at the Macho Man Ricky the Dragon Steamboat match, where Savage hit him with the belt and his larynx was crushed. That's a top 10 match of all time in most people's book. That was at the Fort Wayne Coliseum, believe it or not, in about 1986 or 87. I was 8 or 9 years old for that match, so that kind of dates me. And then what was fascinating is at those WWF events, there was actually teeth in the ring after it was over, and that's not staged, obviously. That's somebody literally losing that. Yeah. But what local promotions, you said it's 6 just to kind of give that brand recognition out there and for yourself to just kind of solidify your audience. What promotions do you work with, maybe within a 50-mile radius of Indianapolis, let's say?
We do DCCW, Delaware County Championship Wrestling, which is out of Muncie, Indiana. That's where we got our start at. And then we do WCWO right there downtown Indianapolis, 1151 Kentucky Avenue. I consider that our second home. They were the second promotion we started working with, and we do. I've got so many opportunities through Joey Owens. we get to do the Comic-Con with them every year. We've done PopCon. I get to do a lot of that stuff with WCWO. So them are the main two. Then we do Warrior Pro Wrestling out of Danville, Indiana, ran by Buck Sexton. And then we also do NGW in Crawfordsville. We've done JICW in Martinsville. We've done Cincy Wrestling out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Summit Pro Wrestling in Greenfield, Indiana. FEW, Frontier Elite Wrestling out of Greenfield, Indiana.
So,
I'm hoping I'm not leaving out anybody.
No, man, that's good by memory. So I got to step out of the ring a little bit. And what's your other peripherals in your sports? Like what are your teams? What do you like to talk about separate from wrestling a little bit?
Sports, we talk a lot of football. I'm a big Indianapolis Colts fan. Baseball, as you can see, big Cincinnati Reds guy.
There you go.
As soon as I'm done with this, the Reds game will actually be starting tonight, so I'll be watching now. We're actually in contention for the playoffs for a change, so
nice.
Don't get to see that very often. And then in NBA, I'm a big Indiana Pacers guy. So
absolutely. Got to rep the 317 with the Pacers, the yes sirs, right? But growing up in Riverfront Stadium, I was a big I was the Hal Morris, Norm Charlton, Rob Dibble, Eric Davis, Chris Sabo. Billy Hatcher, that was kind of my era. Pete Rose was obviously the manager. That old Riverfront Stadium, man, was something else, man. Those guys would bounce into that shitty ass wall that they had out there. And I'm not running the team down. I'm saying that wall was rock hard. And if you remember, you'd hit a single and that ball would just bounce like 30 feet up. That had to be terrible for their turf. I think at one time they said their stolen bases were down so low because of that, pounding on the turf in the outfield and the infield and everything else. But I probably grew up watching 25 games at Riverfront Stadium, actually. I'd go to a Reds-Cubs game. We'd skip the middle game of a 4-game set and go to Kings Island. And we'd watch, 2 games on one side, one on the other. WCWO, great guys. We've had Reggie Edwards on. I'm very familiar with Marcus. Joey's a great guy. That's a great promotion. They do a lot of good things down there. Just so the audience at large is aware, that's about, what is that, maybe 2 or 3 blocks from Lucas Oil where the Colts play?
Yeah, right about 3 blocks.
Yeah, you literally can see, when we went, you could literally see see almost like you could jump the fence and be at Lucas Oil.
Yeah.
We actually, when we went to Royal Rumble this year, we actually parked there at WCWO and just walked over.
There you go.
Smart strategy.
Save yourself like $60, in parking. Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. So who's one of the more whether it be someone that's independent, local, or someone a little bit bigger, who's one of your more favorite or more favorite episode guests that you've had on? Without pissing everybody off,
We were just talking about this the other night, me, Marcus, and my dad and Warren, talking about some of our favorite interviews. One of them that's on top of my list is Logan Myers.
Yep.
He actually just retired from wrestling, but he was on our show 2 or 3 times, and I think he had 2 or 3 of the best interviews that we've had. The ladies' man Mike King. He also that's his wrestling name. His real name's Jared Bird. He runs Gimmick Promotions, and he's also a promoter for DCCW Wrestling. You guys might have seen him at WCWO. He does a lot with Joey Owens, and then of course Joey Owens. Joey's been one of our more interesting guests. He's done a lot with our show. If you've seen our show before, in our opening, there was actually a segment in there where he came over during the show and took over our commentary table and said our podcast sucked, and that it was the Joey Owens show, and that's actually in our opening of our podcast. So Joey's always been one of my favorite. But pro wrestlers wise, TJ Powers was a great guest.
We've had him on and Mike Noble on.
Yes.
We've had Powers and Noble on. Yep.
Mike Noble was real good as well, but Powers, just all the knowledge he's had because he's been in the business.
Legend.
50 years now, it seems like. It's been so long. But yeah, I don't know if you guys ever met Vinny Vachetti. He wrestled some at WCWO. He's been in business for about 30 years, and he was a real good interview as well.
I think it's a small world, when you talk to people and everybody's in it, there's no secret, you earn some money in that, both on your side and in the ring. But at the end of the day, you're doing it for the love of the sport, right? And when you get to talk about different sports, I think that's when it gets fun. I mean, it's awesome to geek out as a specific sport, but it's also to talk a little. So we got to talk a little Colts football. We're trying to drill down to the local market, and we don't always get a chance to be honest with you. We're trying to be more local. That's why we got you on. on, so I think it's great. But we got to talk about Danny Dimes over Richardson. So I'm a little unimpressed, to be honest with you. I'm not really for it. What's your take on it? And then I'll kind of back it up with my take on it.
My take is I don't think either guy is the long-term answer for the Colts. I really don't. So I think Daniel Jones, or I've been calling him Indiana Jones now.
Yeah.
I think he gives us the better chance to win now.
I don't disagree. Yeah.
But in the future, what does that look like? But I don't know. I don't think Richardson's the guy either. So I don't know if it's the right move to bench Richardson. I almost think you should play Richardson to see what you have, to see if he is going to develop. But I think it comes down to Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard know their jobs are on the line, and they feel like Daniel Jones gives them the better opportunity to win games and kind of save their jobs. Because with Jim passing away,
That's what I was just about to ask. Like, how do you feel like that? Jim Irsay's passing away. Like, how do you feel like that's going to affect the franchise?
His daughters ain't no joke. I'll chime in on that one. I mean, they want to win, and they want to win now. Like, they're not coming in to go 4-13. I'm going to tell you right now, heads are going to roll if we go 4-13. So they must know something. I think it's the safer play. Let's be honest. I think Richardson has more upside, but I think it's the safer play. Now, let me ask you kind of off the beaten path on the Colts, and then we'll go maybe a little Pacers. Then we'll transition back into wrestling, just so you know. Are we tanking to get Arch Manning?
I've heard that a lot, but the only problem with that is I don't think Arch Manning's going to come out next year.
That's kind of, yeah.
I think he'll play 2 years at Texas and graduate like his uncles did.
Yeah, because he doesn't need the money. I mean, it's not a secret. I read his NIL valuation was like $3 to $6 million. So let's be honest, he's making more than a rookie anyway. And there's nothing to not like about snapping your fingers and having people come out and get autographs and hang out all over campus. Let's just keep it clean.
And sometimes being the number one pick puts you in a lot worse situation than maybe if you're the 6th or 7th pick in the draft. You might end up on a better team in a lot better situation than being the number one picks. And with his last name being Manning, he don't need money. And then, like you just said, with the NIL, he's making more than the rookie. So I think the Mannings is going to be more about when he comes out, what teams are around and if trying to get him in the best situation than it will be trying to be the number one pick.
What do you feel like when you have a guest on? What do you feel like you bring to the table? Like, you seem like you're easy to talk to. You're knowledgeable. You're in so many different circuits. You don't get me wrong, you go to certain circuits and you said a first and second home, but it sounds like you got multiple homes within the wrestling circuits. What kind of gives you that sense of, well, I'm going to go here and spend time over here, and it's all wrestling, I get that, but what kind of makes it fun for you to go to different venues and different organizations?
The fun thing for me has been meeting new people. It's crazy in the 3-4 years we've been doing independent wrestling, how many new friends or guys I consider brothers now that I've met. One of the pro wrestlers, Connie Blaze, me and him just went and watched the Cincinnati Reds and the Snoop Dogg concert last Monday, just to go hang out and have a good time.
That's cool.
It's been that, and then just building the relationships. I think one thing about me, like you said, I'm a pretty easygoing guy. So a lot of people talk to me and stuff. And I think just being able to build those relationships. But with the wrestling, the other thing that's been great about it is my dad's a big pro wrestling fan. He's been, since I can remember, he's been watching pro wrestling. He watches it now with all the streaming. He watches it 7 days a week. If he's home, that's what he's watching. He don't miss it. So getting to go do all these shows and my dad getting to do commentary, which I know has been a dream of his, and just getting to spend that time with him going to all these promotions and knowing how much it means to him and how much fun he's having has been a great part of it for me.
Man, if I ever got an opportunity, and I'm almost asking, man, if you ever have a one-off or like an event, love to do it, man. That's been a dream of mine. I almost got it fulfilled. I'll just leave it at that, but I still want to do some color commentary. I want to be kind of like a Gorilla Monsoon, Mean Gene Okerlund. I got a broadcasting background, so I don't need a lot of cues and stuff. I just think I would be a natural at it. So just to throw it out at you, if you ever got somebody that's sick or doesn't want to travel or something. Not saying all the time. I'm just saying as a fill-in, because your time's important, my time's important, and kind of go from there. So let's talk a little Pacers. So we got Tyrese Halliburton's going to be out for the year. We all know that. We've got a center that's coming in, big white boy. I think he'll do pretty good in the Midwest. He's going to step his game up a little bit. Do you feel like the Pacers fall off a little bit with Halliburton? I think they fall off a little bit. I don't know that they're championship caliber without him, but I will say that they're deep enough to where I think, I think 52 to 55 wins, maybe 52 and 30, somewhere in there still sounds about right. Agree or disagree on that take?
No, I agree with you. I think we're not won't be a championship team without him. I still think we win the championship this year if his Achilles don't pop in that game. The start he got off to, he was going to have a big game.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I still think we'll be maybe a top 5, top 6 seed. I don't think we'll be in the play-in. I think we'll win, like you said, 52, 55 games, and we'll be probably right there 4, 5, 6 seed. And I think we can win, go on a decent playoff run. I think the big key is going to be the development of Benedict Mathern, because I think he will step in that starting lineup. But if he lives up to the potential I think he has, I think we'll still have a real good season this year, and then that's just going to make us better for when Halliburton comes back the year after.
How long have you had the podcast, Chris?
This September will be 5 years.
Wow. Okay. Say
Awesome.
you're an OG. Okay. So with that, how was something like the Pacers going as far as they did this year? Like what was that like for your podcast? Because I'm sure that was a big. I mean, what else is there going to be to talk about for for that little period of time?
Oh, it was awesome. Plus, it was in a time of year where a lot of times, just to be honest, if the Pacers aren't real good, so it's that time of season. Football's over, so there's not as much sports wise to talk about. There's still all the pro wrestling stuff, but not like sports wise. It's kind of a dead time other than the NBA. So for the Pacers to be making that run, it was awesome. A guy that does some of the sports stuff with us named Big Glenn, he was in the Miles Turner fan zone. So he was at every playoff game. Or actually, he goes to every home game during the season too, but he was at every home playoff game this year. So he would come on the show. He'd have little video clips and stuff that he took while he was there, but he'd come on the show and talk about his experience of the games and stuff. So that was cool to have somebody that was at all the games. But yeah, it was great for our podcast because, like you said, it gave us something to talk about, but it also gave a lot of fan interaction. Mm-hmm. There'd be a lot of guys in the comment section, whether they thought the Pacers were going to win or the Pacers were going to didn't belong. They were going to be swept by every series. Every series we were going to get swept, and well, we almost swept everybody else. We only lost one game most of the series until the finals.
Did you do a lot? Is there a lot of mobile stuff, or do you have a studio, or where do you normally do your podcast at?
Well, I have to get my studio set back up. I have a studio I set up at my house, but I just actually moved. So right now I don't have it all set up. But then sometimes my dad will come to where we're at, but if not, we do it over video with the other guys. Because like Marcus Fine lives probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours from where we live. So sometimes it's hard to get all of us together. So a lot of times me and my dad might be together, but then Marcus and Warren will be over video because they both live about 2 hours from us.
Let's talk sports scene and just the general 317. I mean, everybody knows, well, I guess we know because we're local, but we know we got the 500, we got the Pacers, we got the Colts, we got the Fever that have built, a $68 million practice facility that has all the local things that you need. We've got a soccer team coming in that I'm hearing with a huge arena. Downtown's booming and bustling and getting bigger. There's additional projects in. Baseball, I tell everybody that's one of the nicest AAA stadiums I've ever seen. I mean, I've been to quite a few of them.
Love going there.
What's your general thoughts on downtown Indy? Let's just talk about the Super Bowl for a second, being hosted. I know it's cold. I know people kind of complain that they couldn't go to the beach or they couldn't gamble, in Vegas or whatever. What's your general thoughts on Indy as a host city for just, say, a big event, NBA All-Star Game, WNBA All-Star Game, etc.?
I think Indy as a host city is one of the better cities in our country. The way downtown Indianapolis set up is great for hosting. Everything's in walking distance. I mean, if you're at a hotel, you can be at any of the hotel downtown. You can be at any of the stadiums or within walking distance. Great restaurants downtown. And then, like you said, everything's booming right now. You got Caitlin Clark, Tyrese Halliburton, and then hopefully the Colts get back going. But with what the Pacers and the Fever have been doing, and then you're right, the AAA ballpark, that's one of the nicest. It's nicer than some of the major league ballparks I've went and watched major league games at. Their field really is. It's one of my favorite places to go watch. It's actually my third favorite baseball park I've been to. I love Great American Ballpark, but my favorite of all I've been to so far is Camden Yards in Baltimore. But then I'd have Victor Field right there behind those two out of the ones that I've got to go to so far. But yeah, Indianapolis right now.
I'd have to say Wrigley.
And
I'm pretty sure that we're.
Sorry,
I'm pretty
ahead.
sure that we're one of Indianapolis is like one of the, if not the number one convention city is what I've heard anyway, in the United States, or at the very least in the Midwest. But I think it's one of the top in the whole country. You know, as far
we're
as
top
convention
on sports as well. Just because, like, I think you can always complain. You know, at the Super Bowl it was 15 degrees, but the way they did it, they had fire pits and it wasn't cold out. That's what was so awesome about the city. They were smart enough to block it off. I mean, a lot of these cities, you know, you're driving 7 miles in between venues. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know where you would want to go. Maybe Mass Ave is a mile up the road or a half mile, but let's be honest, it's got everything you need, you know, right down there.
I didn't think there was a lot of was there a lot of complaints?
Well, not really, but the celebrities, if you will, they want to
Okay,
you know, be
gotcha.
in Miami, they want to be in LA, you know, stuff like that. So
And one like the worries about having an Indy again was like he said, like being cold. The year they had it here, the weather was, like you said, was awesome. That was one of the best Februarys we'd had.
Yeah.
But even if it is a little cold, I mean, they've had it in Minnesota before where it's been 20 below zero. So, I mean, it wouldn't be like the first time that you'd had somewhere it's cold. I think Indianapolis will get a Super Bowl back. I think
100%
I
agree.
think them signing that with WWE helped getting Royal Rumble and then supposed to get WrestleMania and stuff. I think that'll help. Also helps get some of them other bigger ones too, as well.
We hit a grand slam in every event.
How good Indianapolis handles those events.
Yeah, we don't have big events and it's not good. Let's just say it out loud. Like there's some cities where you're like, that was kind of subpar, the this and that, but we just don't have bad events. I mean, NBA All-Star Game, heaven forbid, that's a huge event and we knocked it out of the park and they want to return. So who's on your Mount Olympus of professional wrestling at any level? Who's a couple names that you kind of hang your hat on?
Big names like in TV. That's my favorite of all time is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was a big Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. Actually, that's one of the reasons my son's name is Austin was because of that.
Cool.
Nice.
And then also I was a big Ric Flair fan as well. Independent wrestling, my favorite guy I've seen so far in the 4 or 5 years, almost 5 years that we've been going to the wrestling shows is IK3. I don't know if you guys have got to meet IK3. I know you guys you guys been around the WCWO. So do you know who he is?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think I do.
It's actually Joey Owens' son.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
His name is Jonathan Owens, but he goes by IK3. Dude's one of the best wrestlers I've seen, period, not just in independence, but he's the best one I've seen since we've been around. And we've seen a lot of good guys like Dex Royal, the Highlight Reel, a bunch of guys.
Those guys are athletic. Both of those guys are extremely athletic. Yep.
But he's the one that stood out to me the most out of all the guys that I've got to see so far.
Have you done any kind of like flirting with trying to figure out how to, because we've talked about, even with Reggie, we talked about like trying to figure out how to get like how do you get credentials? You know what I mean? Like to be able to go backstage or to be able to be VIP at a game or whatever. I mean, have you ever looked into that especially since you've been around for 5 years?
I had credentials for the Indiana Fever. Was supposed to have them at one time, and then COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
And then that kind of, and then ever since then it's been a little harder to try to get in some of them.
Of course.
Yeah.
Night and day.
So
I did almost have, but we did have approved to go to Fever. But then right before that game hit, they said I had to have a second shot before I could go. So then I was never able to get in.
That's cool.
Yeah,
so you actually started before COVID then. That's because COVID, that was like the time when to have a podcast. You know what I mean? Like that was when everybody started with podcasts was during and started listening to podcasts was during COVID. So you got ahead of the ball. You started before then.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. And then we didn't start doing the wrestling until after COVID, but we started doing the sports stuff. A little bit before COVID, and then we done it all the way through COVID. And once that kind of ended, that's when we got into the wrestling.
That's cool.
What do you think's a project you haven't done up to this point, or a new project that you'd like to do, or maybe a big event that you haven't covered?
One thing I would like to do personally, and then I'll give you something kind of for the podcast. I would love to do some commentary for sports. I would love to call like a baseball game. I have got the opportunity to call some amateur wrestling. I wrestled amateur wrestling since I was 5 years old. I coached high school wrestling. I was an assistant varsity coach for 12 years at a high school here in Muncie. And then once my son got up old enough, I kind of gave up that so I could watch him wrestle and stuff. But I got the chance to do play-by-play for wrestling, and I loved it. So I'd love to do a baseball game, and maybe even would love to call a football game. That's just kind of a dream of mine to do play-by-play for sports. But with our podcast, one thing I would like to do is I would like for us one thing we haven't done was host a live event and have some guests on live, have a live crowd. I think that'd be something cool to do, and I think we could, with some of the independent wrestlers that we've had on before, if we had some of them back on, and with the fan base that they have, and then what we've built up, I think we could have a pretty good turnout and have a good time.
I think that would be cool. We've talked about doing, like, especially with because wrestlers would be the perfect platform for that, because you could have them all of a sudden, boom, someone an enemy, a nemesis pops up, boom,
exactly,
you're like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like that would be perfect. Yeah, I think that could go.
Yeah, a collab would go a long ways, because we know some of the same people. We know probably 3 or 4 people that we've mentioned that we've come in contact with, and I think you are right. That upcoming battle royale or whatever they got going on, Royal Rumble, doesn't matter, 1-on-1 match, tag team. But they're going to fight them in 6 weeks, and let's get them on the podcast and wrangle a little bit and talk a little trash.
That's some of the best shows we've had is sometimes before the shows, because we've always told these promotions, like, send us your flyers, we'll help promote the shows. And then we had some of the wrestlers that would come on like right before the show. Well, we've had one where Christian Cash was on, and then the guy he was going to wrestle that weekend, all of a sudden we popped him in, and they both would cut promos on each other and kind of build up for the show that was going to be in a couple of days. And then were some of the best shows we've had was just them two guys going at each other doing promos. All you basically got to do is get it started, and you just kind of get out of the way and let them do it.
Yep, you're absolutely right. You let them, form the rivalry or whatever.
What is your son? What's your son think of your podcast? Because I mean, I know our boys, like my boys and Jason, they're just kind of like, right? I mean, like I think maybe deep down they think it's cool, but I guarantee they're not going around at school being like, check out my dad's podcast. You know what I mean? What's your son think about it?
At first, he was kind of just like, but now he actually he'll get on. He gets on every now and then and will do some of the wrestling. He's a big wrestling fan, knows a lot. He's real knowledgeable on it too.
That's cool.
So he comes on sometimes on Thursday nights, and we'll talk WWE and AEW and all the wrestling with me and my dad, which is his grandpa. So that makes it even cooler.
That's so cool right there. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, he did. Jason had his son on to, because we had Rick Barry on the show. And I guess Rick Barry was a hero of Harrison's, right? So like he wanted to come on and ask him a question. So he was on one of ours, and I got to ask him a question about, I think he asked him about Steph Curry, didn't he?
Steph Curry, and why did he shoot the underhand?
Yeah.
He was the granny free throw shooter. He shot granny style. Yeah.
I haven't got my son to do commentary with us at a live wrestling show yet. That'd be the next thing I'd like to get him to do. Now he has. Through the pro wrestling, one of his biggest guys is Kurt Angle, because of Kurt Angle's amateur wrestling background too. Well, and he actually got to meet Kurt Angle at a show we was at. Kurt Angle was at, and my son got to go back meet him, get his picture taken with him and stuff. So that's something that pretty cool that's happened through the podcast and with some of the connections. When that was actually with DCCW and WCWO.
Well, in real life, Kurt Angle got the gold medal in the Olympics with a broken neck. I mean, could you imagine wrestling and getting slammed around with a broken neck? I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to leave the house, let alone get slammed on my neck. I mean, that's just...
Well, he's lucky he didn't die. I mean,
I mean, it's...
A lot of people just thought that was a gimmick when he would say that, and when he was in WWE, when he still won the Olympics with a freaking broken neck. It's like, no, he really won the Olympics with a broken neck.
I used to be so fascinated by those...
He broke it in the Olympic trials that year to make the Olympic team. He broke it in like the quarterfinals or the semifinals. I think it was a quarterfinals match, and won 2 more matches with a broken neck to qualify for the Olympics, and then went on to the Olympics and won it.
I used to love watching the matches in the cage with the big blue, the bright blue painted. It just looked so cheesy. It looked so fake, but they did such a good job. You've always got the guy climbing and the guy's passed out, and then right at the last second he grabs him by the foot and he pulls him down, and you got all this wrangling back and forth and stuff.
Did you get with the passing of
they should have brought back that blue cage.
Yeah.
With the recent passing of Hulk Hogan, did you guys cover or talk a lot about any of that, or did you try? Because I know there can be some controversy there. Did you try to steer away from that?
No, we talked about it a lot.
Did you?
Marcus Fine, one of the biggest Hulk Hogan fans that you're ever going to find. So we definitely covered it a lot. I'm not going to lie, I was a big Hulk Hogan fan as a kid.
Yeah, anybody our age. I mean, you grew up with Hulk.
Icon.
I mean, that era, everybody was a Hulkamaniac. And pro wrestling wouldn't be where it is today without Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be near as big. I mean, whether what you think about him personally, if you look just business-wise and what he done for the business, like, he's one of the top guys ever. So I felt like we needed to talk to him. I don't think you can really cover wrestling. And if a guy like Hogan, a legend like that, passes away, I think you're doing a disservice to yourself and everybody by not talking about it. Because, like I said, he's right there, Mount Rushmore guy. And the business wouldn't be where it was without him. Sometimes you got to take your personal feelings out of things. Well, what he done personally, he might have been the greatest guy, but
I wouldn't even say that because I look at if all of us had a microphone around us as much as people like that do, I guarantee that we're all human. I guarantee that we've said things that would get us canceled.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
What's a couple avenues that our fans, local fans, wrestling fans, and podcast fans, how do we find you if we're looking for you online?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch, all Gonzo Sports Room.
Okay, very good.
What are some of do you have any future plans for the podcast? Anything that you care to reveal that it might be new segments or anything like that coming up?
I know the only future thing we really have right now, kind of big in the works, would be bringing back our sports betting show. We had a sports betting show.
That would be it.
We used to do daily, me and Dad. But then when some other things happened, we kind of had to put that to the side a little bit. But we're getting ready to relaunch that. That's something I'm excited about.
Was that after it became legal in Indiana, or was that before?
We started it when we started. It was after it became legal in Indiana, and we done it up till just about it's been about 6-7 months since we've done an episode. We had done it for about 3 years, or 3 or 4 years or so. But then my schedule changed a little bit, and it just was getting hard to do that time slot. So we decided to take a break and kind of figure out a new time slot that worked for both of us, and that way it'd be a little easier to schedule-wise.
I propose a networking meeting
I started traveling a little bit more for wrestling and made it a little harder to do that every day when sometimes we'd be tearing that down the equipment to go travel for a wrestling show.
I propose a meeting at the Winner's Circle downtown. You ever been there?
Ooh, yeah.
No, I haven't been there yet.
You got to go there. It's awesome. They got all the horse races, all the baseball games, basketball, football, but I think it's Harris Casino if I'm not mistaken. But what I love is the horse racing. I mean, they got horse races every 8 minutes. There's a post, and I always try to go in there and just bet, $5-10 a race. Go in there with $100 and see if you can do anything with it. And that's a really good venue right there in downtown Indy. It's about a block or two over from the basketball stadium. So it's right down close to the circle.
We go to the casino there in Anderson, Indiana a lot.
Indiana Live, yeah.
My dad loves going to the horse track, so we'll go there, and they also have the sports book there where we'll go there on Sundays sometimes and watch all the NFL games because they'll have every game right there in front of you. You can't beat it. And they got nice, comfortable chairs, so we'll go there and you can bet on horses, the game, so it's a good time.
That would be fun. I don't know anything about horses though, so I'd be the guy that would bet on the horse. Like, hey, wait a minute, Rachel's hurt, and be like, oh, that's my ex-wife. You know what I mean? That's the that's the one I'm betting on. You know what I mean?
My dad's pretty good at it. I'm exactly like that. I'm just looking at the names and kind of more of a guessing than anything. But Dad's pretty good at it. But he's been going out there for a while, so he's kind of him a little system down, and he knows how to read the book and all that stuff, what everything means.
That's cool. Yeah. Definitely a talent behind that for sure. I mean, like I know you can. It's still gambling, but I know you can definitely have the odds a little bit more in your direction if you know what you're doing.
I think overall this has been interesting. I think the cool thing about this is not only knowing the commonality of the people, but being prideful of our city. Right? You know, the 317 downtown area is booming with the events, everything that's going on. There's a lot to do there, and quite frankly, just knowing some of the same people in the industry and talking a little sports, you know, it's been cool. I thought that this was going to be all wrestling, and I thought it was actually kind of breath of fresh air to do more, if you know what I mean, because you're knowledgeable across all those sports that we like to talk and be part of.
Really
I'm thinking maybe like a future collab or something with maybe try to get like one or two other local video podcasts, and like have us all just talking about Indianapolis, or something like that. I think that'd be cool.
We could definitely do something like that.
Yeah, like a common venue. I like that, a common venue, and then we're on each other's podcast, and before you know it, you got 3 or 4 guests, and nobody's traveling because it's a common area or whatever. That would be cool.
Where are you at again? Where are you located?
I'm located in Muncie, Indiana.
Okay.
Just north of Indianapolis.
Okay.
What's been fun? Hopefully you had a good time, good energy, and just kind of talking and getting to know you a little bit, and heard a lot about you. I can see why you're successful. It's awesome to see a guy that's done this for 5 years, because we're about a year and a half in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in that area. So it's not easy. It's time consuming, and it's fun, it's rewarding, and to see you be successful, I can see why. Mm-hmm. You get after it and you like it, and just continued success. And if we can ever help or collab, we're here for you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I enjoyed it. We'll definitely do something together. Like I said, we'll collab, and maybe we can, like you said, work out something where we can get all in one venue.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
We dive where dreams intertwine. Uncover the layers, let the realness shine. Each tale a treasure, each question a guide. In this space of connection, let's